Manlius Town Board meeting, September 13th, 2023, it's about 6:30 p.m. As always, we are doing this hybrid. We're running a Zoom meeting that people can join by going to the link on the top of our agenda. And we're streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and to our own website. We encourage folks who can't make it here in person to join us virtually to share their thoughts with us. So next up, I will ask Councilor Waters to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So we do have open podium at the top of each of our meetings. It's an opportunity for folks in the community to come speak directly to the board, ask questions, things like that. So first up, we have Nancy Ferraro.
Yep.
Speak on behalf of IC and a request for a school SBL.
Yes. Thank you. Again, my name is Nancy Ferroni. I am the principal of the IC School, Immaculate Conception, here in Fayetteville, New York. Joining me tonight are a few other members of our school community. Although there are just a few of us here this evening, our entire school community supports this important decision. We are here to express the growing need for our school to join so many others within our area, employing a special patrol officer. The tragic event that happened in Nashville last March heightened the concern for safety of our students, who are ages 3 to 12 years old, or pre-K 3 through 6th grade. After this tragedy, the parent outcry for increased security measures, including an SRO, prompted us to conduct a survey. This survey resulted in 86% of our parents and faculty supporting an SPO at the IC school. It's important to highlight at this time that 70% of our parents reside in the town of Manlius. This number does not include the members of our faculty who also reside in the town and who support this decision to have an SRO at our school. We are here to request that IC receive the equivalent of a special patrol officer that the town provides to some of our schools within the Fayetteville Manlius School District. We intend to pay 100% of the cost. There will be no cost incurred by the town of Manlius taxpayers. We have a member of our IC community who is a retired police officer with both SRO and SPO experience. He is ready to begin serving the IC community in the capacity of an SPO as soon as you approve this position. Our neighboring town of DeWitt has begun this process of approving a constable position for Holy Cross Elementary School, another Catholic school in the Syracuse diocese. It is anticipated that officer will begin serving Holy Cross the second week of October. There are 2 other schools within the diocese who are ready to also move forward with serving and securing SPOs once they are able to locate their funding. We are hopeful that you will approve this plan to help us keep our children in our community safe. Thank you for your time and your consideration. I am happy to answer any questions now and in the future.
So thank you very much. I know we met with your attorney, I think back in July, and we discussed a couple of potential ways to make this work. We are currently looking at a number of different areas of the law that we are trying to figure out how you can, a municipality can do this. So the public schools have a special relationship because they are a municipal entity that we can enter what's called an intermunicipal agreement. That is the foundation of this program, and that option is on the table. And I understand I've had some staff reach out to DeWitt. We are looking for the draft of their local law and agreements, and as soon as we have those, we'll be reviewing them. There's a number of different kind of roadblocks ahead of us. One of them is a comptroller's opinion that pretty explicitly states that this is not something that a municipality is allowed to do. So I am looking forward to seeing what DeWitt offers, and if you have any other schools that have an agreement in place, ideally something, a local law that's been passed, an agreement that's been adopted by the municipality, we would be happy to review that and try to understand how they got past some of the issues we're seeing. But at this point, we are looking for an example of how this can be done, so that we can reach out to the comptroller and ask if that's a permitted use of something we can do. Because as of right now, the general idea is that it does not seem legally feasible.
So I am aware that you reached out to our attorney and asked for his legal opinion, and you wanted to have that information. I know that was also sent to all of you this afternoon. The agreement for the constable position that's going through DeWitt, is that something that you have reached out for the town to gather, or is that something that you are waiting or just kind of waiting for?
I had a member of the staff speak with the chief of police over there. So we are looking to see that local law that is to be adopted, I assume, and the agreement that would be entered into. So we're waiting on that, and I'll likely be reaching out to the board and you as soon as we have that to get a better sense of what next steps look like.
Okay, all right. We do want an SRO position, and just saying that if you're able to do this for us, we are more than happy. We want to work with the town. If it doesn't happen with the town, we will reach out to another town.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up for open podium, we have a Jack Popper. I just, quick question, you put down here planning board zone change?
Yes.
So this is the town board and this is just open podium. What's the topic you're looking
Did you see the email that Mr. Popper spoke at the, I encouraged him to come tonight to speak at a.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, he had sent an email. Yeah, thank you.
So although I'm wearing blue, my students go, my children go to.
It's okay with us.
Well,
You have protection.
I'm very appreciative of our SROs at Mont Road and Wellwood, so thank you very much for providing the SROs for my children. So hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Jack Popper, and I will read an email that I sent many of you just last night. And so it states, "Dear town board members, planning board members, Manlius Police Chief Casalia," I apologize for that pronunciation, "and Manlius Highway Superintendent Cushing. I'm writing in reference to the planning board meeting last night on September 11th, 2023, agenda item number 4, 7078 East Genesee Street, Fayetteville, tax map number 092-01-050, zone change from R1 to RM. For those not in attendance, I would like to share that I did speak up unbeknownst to the fact that public comments were not welcome. A gentleman on the planning board directly asked me, 'What is your name and why do you think you have the right to speak?' Overwhelmed by the information provided and my quick realization that public comments were not welcome, I remained silent for the rest of the remainder of the meeting. Looking back, I regret not simply stating that my daughter was hit by a car on her bicycle directly outside my house, which borders 7078 East Genesee Street on Draycott Road. For the planning board members, I offer my apology for interrupting the board meeting. I would like you all to know that how I respect your work and the roles you play in our town of Manlius. I honestly do not know the processes as you do. However, it is imperative that you all understand the safety implications regarding an increase in traffic in an already dangerous part of our town. I have spoken with former police chief Crowell and highway superintendent Cushing about the dangers associated with speeding cars using our Fairfield neighborhood as a cut through between 92 and East Genesee Street. You all should also be aware of the multiple accidents every month on East Genesee Street, directly in front of that tax map number. Just last week, a motorcyclist was struck by a car. I'm unsure of the outcome, but my own children witnessed the motorcyclist taken to the hospital by ambulance. Accidents here at the corner of Draycott Road and East Genesee Street are a regular occurrence. I'll allow my neighbors to express their own concerns regarding the 55+ houses, 30+ children, 15 elderly, and multiple citizens with special needs who regularly walk and ride through our neighborhood, and how they'll be impacted by the increase in traffic. I simply want all involved to understand, or at least acknowledge, the heartache and fear that my wife and I experienced when we could have lost a child while just watching her ride her bike outside my house. My ultimate concern would be that if this law practice attempts to put a driveway on Draycott Road right in front of my house, or if future sales allow this property to allow for even more traffic to impact our neighborhood. Thank you for the time and listening to my letter. I just wanted to reach out and finish up in closing that I would like to share that there are still many unknowns. However, we can all presume that this company will dwarf all the other dentists and insurance offices in the area with regard to traffic. Many of those are a lot smaller. So for the record, I'm not against the law office. I'm concerned with the safety of my children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if there's anyone joining us via Zoom, please use the raise hand function we'll put you in line to speak it over podium.
We have a comment that was submitted today by Barb Wilson. She asked that it be read at open podium. Good evening. I have been asked by Brooke Bregman, Director of CNY Pickleball and a native of Manlius, to help raise awareness of several concerns residents have regarding the limited opportunities for play in Manlius. That word a billion times. Tonight, I'd like to make a plea to the board to work towards some fairly simple improvements. The Manlius Recreation Department offered Monday night pickleball play this summer at Eagle Hill Tennis Courts for a one-time registration fee of $10. They had 67 people show up for it. On the first night of the program, over 40 of them showed up to Eagle Hill. Unfortunately, they saw major problems with the situation. I myself paid that fee, went to the opening night, and never went back. Here is why. The court lines are spray painted, which means the lines are blurry and very hard to see. When on one side of the net, you can't see the lines on the other side because they are so faint, and therefore accuracy is impossible. There is only one pickleball court on each tennis court instead of two. Most tennis courts in the country have been converted into 2 courts. The fact that ours are not means that after every point, people have to run 6 times as far as they would normally have to retrieve the ball because the space isn't utilized correctly. 1 court instead of 2 on each tennis court also means that the courts are using tennis nets instead of pickleball nets, which are never the correct height. Because the courts were only spray painted, only 4 courts instead of painting 8, there is room for 16 players. As games take about 15 minutes, that meant that the other 25+ people were waiting to play for a very long time, which severely discouraged players from continuing to play there. Because of these conditions, the majority of players decided not to come back after the first time. We lost about 40 people that had paid to sign up to play. The rest of the 30 or so players would still come any week they were free, and we had about 20 to 24 players most nights, which is a clear message to us that the facility is not accommodating the level of interest in the town. The majority of those players who continue to show up were beginners, as intermediate and more advanced players did not want to play in courts in this condition. All outdoor programs in every other town in central New York are free. This is the only program that charged a fee for court use. People feel they were being cheated since they were being charged to play in literally the worst court conditions in the county. The money that was collected from the program could easily cover the cost of lines being painted there correctly, and perhaps the town recreation budget could include the purchase of pickleball nets as well, so that they don't have to use the tennis nets. With your support, Eagle Hill could be converted to 8 pickleball nets and 8 painted court lines. We need adequate funding. As for the other town offerings, here are a few examples. Salina, 30,000 residents, 6 dedicated courts in one park, 2 another, not on tennis courts, but instead resurfaced and painted for pickleball with permanent nets installed, costing $5,000 per court. East Syracuse, 3,000 residents, 6 courts. Camillus, 1,000 residents, 6 dedicated courts in one park, 4 in another. Lysander, 23,000, 8 dedicated courts. Manlius is far behind in accommodating this very popular sport, and most regular players are fully aware. The county has well over 100 pickleball courts, and most are used every day, but Fayetteville and Manlius have the least. Fayetteville built a court in Coulter Park, 1 court that is so poorly designed it isn't even safe to play on it. The space around the court is too small and has no effective fencing to contain a missed ball. The fence behind the service line is short, and a player could literally fall backwards over the fence attempting to return the ball. Finally, there is poor parking there. Players from the area are often traveling to Liverpool or DeWitt or Onondaga County Lake Park every day to play. Please support the community by considering significant improvements to the court at Eagle Hill. Consider building new dedicated courts in the town and work with other schools in the town to share their space as well. I'm sure Brooke and others would be glad to continue to work with our town recreation director to make good progress towards better offerings for pickleball play in Manlius. I hope you will do the same. Thank you for your consideration and thank you for all the good you continue to do to better the lives of our residents. Respectfully, Bob Wilson.
It's timely, it's budget time and.
Well, so the proposed budget did include funds for pickleball courts, but I think one of the major issues when we're compared to these other places is that we simply do not have a park.
Right,
We don't have the outside of the buildings, we don't have space. So I will definitely, I guess if you want to talk to Peggy, maybe we can see what.
I remember in the presentation, it was specifically that these nets, these mobile nets are to do just that, to move the court so that they are aligned the same. So I don't know if that changes I don't know about the lines being drawn. I don't know whether that.
There's, I mean, I went to Eagle Hill and again, they're like, it was great, they have them. Because we were excited. But, we don't control that site, that's the school property, so we just use it, or like, let us use it, or rent it, or I don't know how it works, but.
Right, the comprehensive plan too, if people were interested in more services, so. They put them into Filter Park inside the Brookside neighborhood,
Yeah.
that park that's right there, and I understand if there's a little sharp drop off, I could understand what,
Yeah.
was it Barb?
I know that the Y was also constructing pickleball courts at the Manlius Y, but that would be outside.
That's private.
Yeah, and they'd have to pay for, I think they'd have to pay for a membership.
But I know Peggy's on top of this,
Yeah.
and really needs a lot of Brooks leadership. so.
Oh, absolutely, and with Eagle Hill, they're changing it to do the courts horizontally across it rather than going with the tennis court nets, so that they're gonna be following the amount of courts that they had there from previous times, and what they're gonna have going forward.
I don't know about the registration part, but I would say that because we also, I mean, the registration, if we charge very nominal fees for things, so it's good to have that information about that other people don't pay, but at the same time, asking adults who are doing something for recreation versus.
It's also very tricky because it's not that we are saying our place of pickleball is free and open.
Right.
We are using someone else's
Right.
space.
That's exactly what it is. It's not like we're charging for our space, it's
Right.
another space.
Okay, anyone else here for open podium?
Air conditioning? Is that all right? Is that all right?
There are more chairs over here.
So we will start moving right along. First up on our agenda.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda, we have to set a date for the 7078 Eastern C Street R1 to RM zone change. So.
Well, so I wanted to make sure too that people know this RN, it does, it's about repurposing existing structure that is in the code, it's not like it's going to be a time change there now, and then I didn't know with the traffic concerns too, because it is a traffic moment, speed bumps in the future. The neighbor,
She could speak up a little.
Could we get
I think just over the air conditioner, I might not have been able to hear, Elaine was saying that, she was saying that this zone change is, from R1 to RM would not be a major difference in the usage. But I think more interesting to you of what she said was that if you were interested in exploring traffic calming measures for your street, that we would be happy to talk to you more about that.
Yeah, we've got, I know we had set aside ARPA money, looking at probably increasing that a little bit. One thing that we've already done for traffic calming is we're looking at the flashing speed limit signs to.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you right there.
No, you're not, I'm sorry.
Burning
This
Street,
is not, this
on
is
Burning
not,
Street, they don't work.
this is not a conversation, you know that. I'm trying to share what we've been doing and what we're gonna be doing. So we have gone after flashing speed limit signs to help deter behavior, as well as looking into temporary speed bumps that could be installed outside of the plowing season that would work long-term as a deterrent and a way to change behavior to de-incentivize basically using different pumpers and things like that. So I think if you could, we'll follow up with you based on the email you sent, and we'll talk about, we're looking for neighborhoods to petition to get a consensus prior to making any of those expenditures. But we can absolutely start that process over in the neighborhood.
Further to what Supervisor Deere said, what we'd like to do is increase the number of these materials or these tools that we have that collect data.
Yeah.
So that we understand and have data around the traffic patterns, and that's really, really important because we only have one right now. The other thing is October 4th at 6:35 p.m. is this public, is what we're setting the date for this. So come then, please.
Could I ask if the police could run a report of accidents that have happened at that intersection that was mentioned? And we could have that in time for the public hearing to say there were this many.
What time period?
Couple of years, or
There are many accidents.
So it's
Hold on,
gonna be very
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, cover the period too.
I would look into anywhere between the Linden Corners to Town Center, that strip right there.
Yeah.
is super dangerous, it's constantly accidents.
Counselor Taliana requested 5 years, and would that be a lot more? Or that, give it that or two?
I'll check. We redid our database several years ago. So that's a lot more thorough how we can track our data. I don't know if it goes back 5 years. Why don't we check that?
The most that you could do that would be the easiest for you.
Okay, great. So we'll try to have that all prepared for October 4th.
So I'd like to make a motion to set the date of the public hearing on October 4th at 6:35 p.m. in the matter of the zone change application submitted by Votar LLC to change the zoning from R1 to RM for the property located at 7078 East Tennessee Street, Fayetteville.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Excuse me, can I just ask one question about that situation? I'm also a neighbor.
If you could come up to the podium.
Sure, yeah, sure. Hi,
And that was,
Bobby Lindenberry. I live right along the backside of 7078. And I just want to ask a question. Leading up to the public hearing, will we know anything about the site plans
so
for that
what
property?
the public hearing is about is the zone change. So we handle zone changes at the town board, and a zone change is us passing a law that changes the designated zone. So generally speaking, when we consider zone changes, we don't consider site plan. We consider the zone itself that we're moving it to and whether or not that's appropriate. The planning board has authority over site plan review. And so after if we were to approve a zone change, the planning board would then work with the developer, bring in all of their information about site plan, and then they would have another public hearing where folks would have an opportunity to see what's proposed and give more details.
Understood. Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along, we have set date for the public hearing for regarding our apartments. Did you guys have anything else? You guys have anything to add? Okay, great.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, so just on this one, in the resolution, we need to change it, it says residential 5 to PUD and it needs to be commercial.
I think it's.
garden.
Garden
Are,
So
yeah, and
it's
then
it's not our fight.
it's fine.
So we did that.
Yeah, okay. So, I'll make a motion to set the date for a public hearing on October 4th at 6:35 to consider the adoption of district plan for the garden park senior apartments and zone changes set forth in the local law as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up, we are going to set the date again for the Twin Ponds PUD public hearing, because we have a resolution.
So just the reason we're setting, it's the same date as we set before. But I have come to the conclusion based on our law that we need to also pass a local law for the zone change itself. It should run concurrent with the adoption of the district plan. And I also added a provision that is going to create an appendix to our zoning code. If a district plan is going to be adopted, I don't want the district plan in the body of our code, because it will just flutter all around town code
Yeah.
and it'll look terrible.
I don't think that should be in the public hearing.
Well, the district plan will be an appendix to chapter 155. So there will be an appendix listing all the district plans that have been adopted.
The
Then,
individual things for each side.
yes, for each, and then after that schedule, will be each district plan, which will be the end of our zone. So that's, I know it's a little confusing, and it's probably, but that's the way I think we should do it. The reason we're gonna redo or reset the date for a public hearing for Twin Ponds is because this local law will probably come first in sequence. So we have to make sure the schedule meets that sequence. Does anybody understand? Any questions?
That's what you need now too.
Yes.
Okay, nothing different.
So just to observe, and since you were, for example, we want comments on this plan, like usually in the zone change, get into the detail, but the district plan is where we can get into the detail, so we really want people to review those, ask questions, give us comments, tell us what you like, what you don't like.
Because the district plan then becomes the code for that particular location.
Right, and so by setting the public date, we still can change that.
Yeah.
The district plan stuff, but that, I know, that's how this is.
Well, if we do make substantial,
Then we
if
have-
the board makes substantial changes to the district, or requests substantial changes,
Okay.
we may actually have to adjourn.
Well, I should send you my change.
Does that-
I should send you my change.
No, it's the public hearing. Okay.
So I would like to make a motion to set the date for a public hearing on September 27th, 6:35, to consider the adoption of the district plan, Twin Ponds project, and zone changes set forth in local law as outlined in the resolution prepared by the director. Also,
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So let's see, next up, set a date for a public hearing on property tax cap override. Some information for folks that aren't aware. New York State sets a property tax cap. It's an amount that essentially you're held to not increase taxes above. Because of the realities of budgeting, if we have an expense at some point next year that has to be paid, an emergency, a broken roof or something, we essentially pass a local law that we passed, I think, pretty consistently since the property tax cap has been here, that essentially allows us to override that tax cap. So we just need to set that public hearing.
And did we go over last year or did we?
the state of the record.
Just want to make sure that was
I'd like to make a motion to set a date for a public hearing on September 27th at 6:35 p.m. to consider the proposed local law to override property tax cap for the 2024 fiscal year as outlined in the resolution presented by the attorney for the town.
Also,
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up, we have an agreement amendment for Barton and Judas for the comprehensive plan Good, what do you give us a little bit of information about this?
So, as many of you have been following, the comprehensive plan became more expansive in spring, so there was more meetings and more amendments to the writing, than was projected in the original application or the original proposal that.
We also added the climate action plan.
So we made that adjustment in fact. This is another adjustment. So this is the appendix 2, because we changed it for the climate action plan, and then we changed it again for the extra meetings in spring. So this is a motion to approve an agreement for amendment 2 to between the town Manlius and Parking and Marquis C for professional services for town Manlius comprehensive plan for an additional $15,750 as outlined in the agreement. I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
This is the final.
This is, but and has been taken with its rest. Did you know?
I did, but I've got it right here. Okay. So,
Beginning of 2021, right?
yeah, beginning in 2021, I mean, we can go right to the bottom of the line. The total net cost to town of Manlius taxpayers is $88,950. That represents $93,350 to Barton and Judas for their work with the comprehensive plan. Central New York Regional Planning Board for $16,500. There were some small miscellaneous expenses, advertising and whatnot. But that did also include a $44,500 climate smart community grant, of which $22,250 is a match from town families.
So the total is
$88,950 over 3 years.
Thank you very much. How much of that was it? How much was it?
Yeah.
Motion passes. Okay, next up,
Yes, so I, making a little adjustment here where it says certificate of deposit purchase. We're actually going to be working with M&T, who we do our banking with, and Wilmington Trust to create a trust account so we can purchase, or the town can purchase some treasury bills. An example would be if the town was able to purchase a 6-month T-bill, the current rate is 5.42%. So if we could invest $2 million, your return would be $108,400. So it makes sense to do that. So I've been working with the supervisor, Maria, our comptroller. If the board could authorize the 3 of us to work with M&T and Wilmington Trust to get that set up, we'll report back at the next meeting. Hopefully the rate will be the same, and then if you authorize at that point whatever investment that you would like dollar bill.
We're gonna.
Yes.
So this is motion next.
Don't raise that.
Don't leave those the motion that I have.
So we're just authorizing that to make.
Yes, and we'll authorize the supervisor, Maria Lenway, and myself to work with M&T and Wilmington Trust to create this trust account so that then the town board can move forward should they choose to purchase treasury bills. So that at the next meeting, we have all of
Yeah, we'll
the
know.
documentation, the amounts, and then you could authorize.
So this is just a trust.
Yes.
So we're just moving the money.
We're not,
This is not a trust.
there's no.
Creating the account.
Yes.
If we want to.
Correct. We need to authorize, we need to just set up, you know.
So I'll make a motion to authorize the supervisor, the comptroller, and the town manager to work with Wilmington Trust to set up trust accounts.
And M&T.
MMT to set up the trust accounts.
I'll second.
those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay.
And it's a good idea.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. It's the highlight of the day. I'm like, hey, did you know we can make some money? Yeah, that's great. Not often that we get to have that conversation. Okay, so next up, this is gonna be the agreement, with Tower Technologies to move to version 10 of Encode. This is our accounting software, we're using 9. It is very outdated, and essentially, we're using something that the when your desktop opens up a Windows-based menu. 10 is fully within the browser, it's customizable to infinitely customizable, and then also provides us a pretty serious on-ramp for other features in the future, such as making budgets more easy to understand for the public, posting them, allowing them to be drilled down through and things like that. So, the big thing I wanted to remind everybody is that when we talk to Tower Technologies, the yearly fee, the yearly maintenance remains the same. So this $15,000 is $12,000 for the work of migrating our data and working with us in training, and about $3,000 is project management. So this is a one-time fee for an upgrade, and there's no, other than the normal yearly increases, that this is not substantial increase in yearly fee.
So this was on our building. Yeah. And then we use on.
Yes.
For
So we have ARPA money set aside for GIS implementation.
Yeah.
And we also have the money set aside for the comptroller salary this year. So we have multiple pots of money to pull from to cover this.
Cover the, especially
Yes.
that migration. fee.
Yes, and it's nice because it is a one-time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So should we make this motion to stay with our funds so that we clarify the funds?
If needed.
Yeah, I think it's a good, when it has some clarity.
So the make motion to authorize the supervisor to enter an agreement with Tyler Technologies to purchase version 10 of the financial management suite in the amount of $2,340 is outlined in the agreement presented. Funds to come from our.
One second.
All those in favor?
I'd say if needed, instead of as needed, in case we don't. It's not.
Sure. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. This is gonna be a really nice upgrade for pretty much everybody in town hall who interacts with you. We worked pretty hard to make sure that we get this done this year, because there is an 8 to 12 month window of implementation. So we're hopeful that it will be implemented by next year's budget, so we can use it for next year's budget. But that's not hope. Okay, just wanted to check in. I know, we're kind of pushing, you had something?
I do, quickly mentioned it during the budget session, but this time of year that we start looking at, doing surpluses and equipment, so we've got, pickup truck at this point, which is a 2018 Ford and a 6-wheeler, 2004 International, 7600. Give the mileage, honestly, I'll try and do this, but mileage on the pickup is 73,000, we're looking at 7,000 on the 6-wheeler. So what we look to do is put those up on the Auctions International website, see how we make out as far as auction stores, like, you guys are familiar with that process. We can take any and all bids, so we can reject them, go back and do that, this is sort of time, bring now and when to do that. So I guess I need a motion just to allow me to put these 2 vehicles up for auction for surplus.
So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the superintendent to put a pickup truck and 6-wheeler to Auction International, and we are not required to accept any.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'm so sorry, I have to speak out then. Enjoy the next 5 minutes of your game.
Did we have anything else? Does anybody have anything they need to share with us?
We need to open.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's at the end of September, so you can do it next time.
Yeah,
Next time.
yeah, we'll prepare a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so I do have one.
This is for the board assessment review.
One thing I did forget to add to the agenda, I've said, discussed in most of the board members, I'd like to schedule the work session for 5 o'clock on September 27th. My plan is to have a couple of vendors for communications platforms. One of them is a very comprehensive one. It would be like they call it C-click fix. They made after the town where you could like drop a pin, say there's a pothole here, it would go to our highway department and get processed through. And then the other one is a much lighter piece of software that would essentially allow us to do texting with our residents. They do number acquisition, we can also ask for people to sign up. But one of the biggest benefits there is geofencing. So in particular, like if North Village floods, when the North Village Road floods, we can text residents on that road, to let them know we can text relevant residents. This is just in response to a lot of the feedback we've had at the meetings about finding more ways to communicate with folks. And I just wanted to set something up where we can see the demos. I sit through a lot of demos that I never gets passed on to the rest of the board, just because most of it's over engineered for what we need. But these two did stand out to me, and especially the Sequent Fix one. I actually spoke with their engineers, and they would be able to carve out special zones within the town to encompass the villages. And we would actually be able to make it so that if someone drops it in outside of the village, it goes to us, and then they drop it inside the village, we can go straight to the village. Well, so if outside of the villages, if we could work like a ticketing system inside, we'd be able to send them an email, and say, hey, someone's got this. Yeah, other than that, I would just look for a motion to set a date for, what do you call it?
A work
Work session.
session, discuss communications platforms and other businesses needed.
Motion to schedule a work session on September 27th at 5 p.m. to discuss communication platforms and other business as needed.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries, thank you. And then, we've got, 2 sets of minutes. Those,
The motion to approve the minutes from August 9th.
all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Seconded that.
We'll put that.
Yeah, I'll just abstain, or I'll just abstain. Yeah, I'll abstain.
I was there.
Yeah.
So, I heard of every letter you
Right. So I have to abstain.
And I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from.
Here it's on August 23rd. August 23rd, we're just trying to get to September 23rd. Got that.
I'll approve the minutes for August 23rd.
Hard to hear.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then the abstract.
Supervisor, let's make a motion to approve the abstract number 17, $501, $294.41. And the winner is really almost wrapping up with the asphalt, just on with our meeting. I will second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So just before we adjourn, I just want to give an update on how the SLT process has been going. I would say. Oh, if you could just, we're just gonna wrap up the meeting pretty shortly, if we could just minimize the crosstalk a little bit, thank you. We sent out our permanent absentees, I want to say last Saturday, right? Saturday morning. We sent out 425 permanently registered absentee voters. And then as we opened up the application process, do you have a current number for how many we processed?
162, and I think I got 12 in the mail today.
Yeah, so I will say Friday, we had staff here pretty late, working on getting all those out. Saturday, when the board of registration was here, we were doing quite a bit of work to process those, and then that kind of led over into this week. I know the clerk's office has been very busy with that. Just as a reminder to everybody, applications, if your request is to have your ballot mailed to you, it has to be received by the town clerk on September 16th, that's a Saturday. Town hall will be open from 9 a.m. to 12 to accept those in. If an application is being mailed to us and it's requesting a mailed ballot, That has to be received by the time we close up on September 16th. And then applications where you check the box to have them delivered to you in person at the clerk's office, we can accept those up until the end of day, 4:30 p.m. on September 22nd. And then we did make an adjustment to our absentee application based on the town law that this petition was filed under. The town law just explicitly states the 4 reasons that you can apply for an absentee ballot. It did not include for religious reasons. So after some talk with our residents and attorney and some outside folks, we made the decision to move forward and add that option to our absentee application, especially given that this is a Saturday election. So we are continuing to process those. Please get them in as soon as possible, especially if you're expecting it to be mailed. The town has not handled an election like this in 1988. We don't have extra hands to manage this stuff, so as soon as those come in, we can get them back out and ensure people are getting their ballots. It's really important.
How many people have registered for registration?
One person registered with board registration. One person who was not already a registered voter.
Those are people that came in basically checking.
Everybody was looking for an application except for one person. An absentee application.
So the word registration is set that all registered voters.
Yep.
So
Yes.
only one additional person.
Yes.
wasn't there.
So one person who was not currently on the rolls with the board of elections who will be eligible to vote on September 14th.
Well, thank you to those board registered members for being here.
Yes, we definitely have done before. So do we have anything else? Okay. Just a long timer. Back to 7:30.
The motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye.